got a little bit of a headache, so I'm gonna run through this as fast as I can. But essentially, all I'm gonna be doing for this is I'm going to be showing you guys what casting looks like and how to do it and whatever. But I'm gonna use casting to rotate a cube, spin like this, whenever the player gets close to that cube. So I'm in here right now, and I'm going to click on the third person. I'm going to do that. I don't need the starter content. I'm just going to call it casting. Let me create. And we're in here. I'm going to hit Shift F11 to maximize the screen. And then I'm going to dismiss this. I'm going to open this up, and in the content drawer, just because I don't feel like putting it in a folder, I'm just going to right click and click a blueprint class and then an actor. And I'm going to call this BP, sorry, my thing's kind of in the way, rotating cube. Okay. So I'm going to double click on this. And I'm going to go and add up here where it says the components. I'm going to add the static mesh for this cube. So I'm going to click on the static mesh, and under the, here, let me just dock this up here, compile and save. I'm going to, underneath the static mesh here on the right, after you highlight it, I'm going to drop down the menu and I'm going to pick the cube. So now I want to put in the logic for rotating the cube. So I actually don't need these. And all I'm going to get is rotate. What is it called? I'm not finding what I'm looking for. Let me just do that, rotate. Add actor local rotation. That's why it didn't show when I put in rotate. So for this, I want it for the event tick here. And I'm just going to drag it here. And then for, it's probably the Z-axis. If you click on this, it'll show you, let me click on the static mesh first. And then you click on this, it'll show you the rotation. Blue is Z, green is Y, red is X. So Z is what I'm trying to do. So I'm just going to put a 2 in here. 2. And let me just compile and save. And let me just show that this is working. Test this out first. So I'm going to hit play. And the sphere is rotating in the Z direction. So now let me add in the actual casting implementation. So we're first going to need to set up the logic for it overlapping. So I'm going to click a variable down here, and I'm just going to make it can rotate with a question mark. And I'm going to need a branch here. And a branch is basically a condition whether it's true or false. And you can add into this condition here, if you just click and drag the can rotate here, this will determine whether it's able to spin or not. So I am going to go to the functions here, hit a plus, and let's say overlap actor. So this function is going to be when the actor overlaps with it, it will enable the can rotate. So I'm going to add something here, actor overlap, and then I'm going to grab this can rotate here, set it, and then I'm going to drag in the execution pin and then this pin into here for the can rotate. So if there's an overlapped actor, it will be able to set the can rotate. Well, not yet, because I didn't actually set the overlap for any function yet. So let me go into the third person, blueprints, BP third person, and let me go down in here, and I'm going to add a sphere collision. So if it overlaps with this sphere, I'm going to, wait, let's see how big the sphere is. Not big enough. All right, so while you have this highlighted, go into sphere radius and make that 200. Okay, so if it overlaps with the sphere, we want it to be able to rotate. But if not, we don't want it to be able to rotate. By the way, wait, let me go back to this. All right, just making sure this is unchecked. So unchecked would be false, so by default it's false, so by default it's not going to rotate. Going back into the third person character, I want to add in overlap events, and there's a couple ways to do this. So the first one, you have it selected, you can actually just scroll down to the bottom here, and you can just click on component begin overlap and on component end overlap, or you can right click on the sphere itself and add event on component begin overlap, and it'll add it as well. Both of them do the same thing, but I'm just going to do this one. So I have an on component begin overlapped for the sphere, and I have an on component end overlap. So the other actor, and this is where the casting comes into play, I'm going to cast it to whatever the name of the other object is going to be. So it's going to be BP rotating cube. And now that I've cast to this object here, it's the other actor, by the way, so if this overlapping sphere overlaps this other actor, which is the rotating cube, and now I can access all of the rotating cube stuff. And by stuff, I mean I need this function here for the overlap actor. So if I drag off of this, I can get the overlap actor, because I am casting to this cube. By casting this cube, I'm gathering all the information from that blueprint. And I want to check mark this so that it will activate the rotation. And I can actually just highlight and Control D for duplicate. And let me drag the execution pin in here, another actor, and then I'm going to uncheck this actor overlap here so that it will not spin anymore. Or so it's not registered as being overlapped anymore, which, you know, makes it so it can't rotate. So let me hit the play button here, and let me go up to the sphere, and it rotates. And when I go away from the sphere, it stops rotating. So yeah, that was a really quick one, but I just wanted to share that with you guys real quick. So have a good one. Bye.